So I've got a few videos I want to make at the moment. One on China, of all things. One on UK riots. But today I'm looking exceptionally extra ugly. You could say I'm looks minimized today. So how's about today we talk about our favourite looks maxer, Clavicular. I made a video about him like maybe a month ago or something, calling him cringe and how he's dumb and misguided. Generally that sentiment hasn't changed, but I will say I practiced what I preached. I followed my own words. I got out of my echo chamber. I watched every single one of his videos, at least the ones available on YouTube, and his Nick Fuentes interview, of course, just so I could get more into his mind, you know what I mean? It's like I always say, get out your echo chambers. If someone seems crazy, maybe they're crazy for a reason. At least, you know, listen to what they say and make your own mind up about it. So I did, and we'll go on about, specifically today, his video, his message to younger men. This is going to be my message to younger claviculars of the world. Honestly, clavicular, Clav, can I call you Clav? I think you're a really smart guy. And in a sense, I have some respect for you. I think you're a very smart dude who found exactly everything he could have and should have found reasonably. All the right answers for the false premise you were starting with, essentially. Doesn't mean you are right, but based on the false premises you've done your research with, I couldn't find another better conclusion myself than the way you go down. Like, I think your biggest problem is believing raw meat is a cope. And I do actually agree, in a sense. I understand where he's coming from when he says things like that. Like, if you put it black and white, if someone was well nourished since they were a kid, they wouldn't have crooked ass British teeth like me. They'd have an actually developed jaw. Their skin would be better, yada yada yada. But the fact of the matter remains, 99.9% of us will not be well nourished throughout our childhood, our adolescence, and by the time we're an adult, people like me, I realised into my 20s that raw meat was the way. Am I going to get a few extra inches of height? Fuck no. Is my jaw going to extend? No, don't be dumb. So I do get where he's coming from, in the sense that for people who really have no hope in that sense, things like double jaw surgery aren't exactly the worst possible idea. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this is a be-all, end-all, this is going to fix all your problems. And ultimately, you are just effectively masking the problem. If you have kids, those kids, assuming you nourish them the same way you were nourished, they're likely look just as bad or worse, seeing as it's an extra iteration of degenerating. So typically, you're going to end up with people even worse. I mean, there's examples of people in like Korea. There was a guy who married a woman, had kids with her and sued her because the kids turned out ugly and she just matched up all their things with surgery. There's an argument to be made that perhaps had their kids been well nourished since basically newborn, breastfed properly, fed raw meat, liver, would they have necessarily turned out ugly either as well? Possibly not. But you know, it's one of those things. I do understand why for him he'll just dismiss it as a cope, because ultimately you're not going to get these crazy life-changing, or at least not physically changing to that extent when you're in your 20s or late teens. It's just how it is. Like, raw meat is the way, but you know, it's like people have puberty blockers all throughout their adolescence. They stop it when they're adults. The damage is done. You didn't have the right nutrition required, and now your body's sort of stunted effectively. No judgment. This is me too. This is basically everyone. This is even millionaires, even billionaires typically feed their kids fucking grain sludge diets. So no hate, no judgment, no regrets in a sense, but it was out of my control. I'm just excited to do better for my future kids one day. I think that's the best way to look at it. You can either be stuck in the salt and mad, or you can just think of the best next steps forward. But anyway, I'm going to say, Clavy, you remind me a lot of Bryan Johnson, you know. There's certain things you do where like I say, your foundation's entirely wrong. You're anti your natural diet. So everything, you can say it's a cope, but effectively everything you're doing is also a cope. It's all coping for the lack of nutrition you received as a child. You could say it's the same for most of us. Fucking hell, let me get a breather for a minute. God damn, boys. But yeah, there's so many things. Bryan Johnson wants to live forever. He cuts his calories. What happens when he cuts his calories? His testosterone reduces. Obviously, he's not got the nutrition required for adequate T levels. What does he do? He starts taking testosterone patches. It's like, what the fuck? Is this longevity now? Testosterone as an exogenous hormone known to make your heart all baggy and decrease your lifespan, is an idiot. Whereas they do other things to treat these symptoms. They do something, get symptoms, do something else to treat the symptoms, get symptoms from that. You know, we've heard the story a million times. It's basically doctors 101. You get ill with something, they give you medicine. You get side effects of medicine, they give you medicine for the side effects. Endless cycle. And really, it makes you think, would he have needed all these extra things if the base foundation was correct? Probably not. There's one crazy thing Clavicular, to go back to Clavy, mentioned that I just found, it was so Bryan Johnson, I couldn't even believe it. He hides from the sun. You know, the sun, which gives everything on earth life, effectively. The thing that when it's in the sky automatically wakes us up so we can praise it. Yeah, he avoids the sun like the plague. But at the same time, he acknowledges that having a tan is the best possible look for a guy. Like, you know, just Photoshop yourself with and without a tan. 9 times out of 10, you're going to look better with a tan just because you've got more blood flow in your face. You look more alive. You've got more vitality. He avoids the sun like a plague, and then he puts on fake tan to make up for the lack of tan. And then he adds other things like blusher, I think, to account for the unnatural look of the fake tan. And I'm just thinking, all this, you could have just been in the sun, fam. But then he'd be like, oh no, the sun's bad for you. And if you think about it, it makes sense from his perspective. Once again, he's operating from an incorrect foundation where he believes the sun's bad for you. But yeah, for him, if he stayed out in the sun, it probably would actually damage his skin, seeing as he has an absolute garbage diet. It's full of roids and other things that are just inflaming him. Yeah, makes sense that the fucking sun would inflame him. That doesn't mean the sun inherently inflames though. If you were to follow your natural diet, once again, no seed oils in your diet, or effectively zero, and your fat cells were a lot more stable, not oxidizing over time, you were just eating raw meat and fat, you can probably stay in the sun for a very long time without burning. I'm not saying if you're albino to go to the Sahara Desert and stay out for 4 hours. Listen to your own senses. There's always shade you can hide in when it's getting a bit much. But that's one example of basically how, you know, from his perspective, if you really think about it, he's worked out the right solutions in a way. It's just the foundation's all wrong. So inevitably there will be loads of mistakes of what he's saying. But could he have really found much better given the framework he was working with? And you've got to think as well of all the influences he's got around him. He's a young dude. Hair Cafe, my best friend, he's always in Clav's fucking comments, fucking bigging him up, giving him that positive feedback loop. And yeah, Clav is looking at all the mainstream science. He's got no reason to question it. If he does, he's hated and ignorant, blah, blah, blah. Anytime he promotes finasteride or other drugs, Hair Cafe's in his comments, praising him, glazing him. You're so smart, we need more people like you. And that must feel good. It's a guy of authority who's sort of a big figure on a certain topic, and he's praising you for your shit when you're going, you know, when you're saying these things. I think of myself. I used to be a gym rat. I used to follow a guy called Alpha Destiny, Alexander Leonidas. He's vegan now. I'm just saying, years ago when I was more misguided, had I been promoting gym, veganism, and all these things, and had I had Alpha Destiny in my comment section praising me, calling me a real one, saying I'm one of the best of the young people. That'd probably feel pretty good. That'd stroke my ego a lot. And it'd make it even harder, is my point, for me to go against it. It's not only am I going against what I believe anyway, but now I'm going against authority and people I like. It's like a sort of trap people get in. It's why in a way I'm sort of grateful I've got such a small platform that nobody gives a fuck. I could say anything and the world will keep turning. But I've got to empathise with people like that who are sort of trapped in a sort of thing where they don't want to go against their boys and whatnot. Same with the raw meat community and shit. You see a lot of people blindly glaze Goatis for no reason. I can think of reasons why. He's a good influence overall, but he's not perfect either. And yeah, no matter what field you're in, whether, try not to be in an echo chamber, think for yourself, even if it doesn't make the people you like happy. It's better for us all if you think for yourself in general. But yeah, I'm going to say, I hope your double jaw surgery's gone well, mate. I do understand why you've done it. Overall, you should fix your diet. I know you're taking Accutane as well. You're like 19. That completely destroys your immune system. Yeah, you'll be fine for now. Hiding the symptoms. If you keep eating shit, fucking hell, I am dead. But there you go. I look a lot worse than you now, Clav. I guess I always did, but it's really enhanced. I've been wrinkle maxing today. Hairline reducing today. But yeah. Fucking, you take Accutane. You're not treating the actual toxicity in your body. You're not allowing your body to detox. It's building up. Maybe you'll be fine for years. One day it might all come out and be awful, and you'll regret everything. Trenbolone. That is actually insane. Trenbolone's for cows. It's for battery farm cows. It's bad for them anyway. I don't want to be mean to you, fam, but you're taking the most powerful steroids on earth, effectively, Trenbolone. You barely look like you lift. So, is it really worth it? At this rate, the most change we're going to see is just your face is going to look older. You're going to lose more hair. You're going to start looking like me. And you're going to be full of regrets. At the end of the day, girls don't really give a fuck about your muscles as long as you're not anorexic or obese. They care more about your face. You've got a decent face, no homo. So look after it. Fucking eat properly, stop stressing. You're fine as you are. I understand wanting to improve as well. You should be aware, but not obsessed. Strive to improve, but end of the day with guys, fucking, how many fucking bald, fat ginger manlets do you see with hot as fuck girls? Maybe you don't, but you're permanently online. I see many, but yeah, whatever. Hope your surgery goes well. Hope you listen to what I have to say. Don't want you to change your mind. I just want you to think for yourself.